This is probably one of the hardest videos that I've ever had to make. And I'm not sure if I'm going to post this video or not, but I just really need to get this out. I am a single mother of 2 adult children, and I've had some pretty serious situations and hardships throughout the years with both of my children. And I don't necessarily want to put their business out there because their story is theirs to tell. But I will say this, that sometimes being a mother is a thankless job, especially when I've made so many sacrifices for my children. You know, I was married to their father, and their father wanted to unalive me. And I decided to basically run for my life when my children were smaller. I left everything that I own except for 4 boxes, I believe, 4 boxes of clothes that I had mailed to me. And I moved clear across the country to a place that I didn't know. I only knew 2 people. I lived in a homeless shelter with my children, and I went to all the group sessions. We did our visualizing. I went to therapy. My children went from school to school to school until we were able to get stabilized to some degree. It was a huge culture shock as well, moving from a small minded town in the Midwest to Southern California. Things are different when you move from a small place to a large place. The mindset was different. So we had a lot of struggles. I definitely had a lot of struggles because I was a single parent, and I went from paying $350 a month for rent, and that was not on Section 8, that's how much rent was, to almost $1,000. And I had to figure that out. I can say that I made a lot of mistakes. I did, thinking I was doing the right thing by protecting my kids, and there was a lot of instability going from a shelter, taking them away from their family, their cousins, their friends, their people they knew in school, all of those things, and having to adapt to this life as a transient and making new friends. And then as soon as they got used to those friends, we would move again, even in California. So they had to go to another school. And I want to say that I wish that I had a book that gave me instructions on how to be a good parent. Because the things that I did to keep my children safe, sometimes I feel like those things actually worked against me in the long run. I wasn't a parent that was absent. I wasn't a parent that was on drugs. I did not abuse my children physically or verbally or sexually. I was there as much as I could be. And what I mean by that is I also had to work. I had to pay the bills. I had to buy school clothes. I had to make sure they had food to eat, shoes to wear. They needed supplies for school projects and field trips and all of those things. They also needed therapy, and so did I. I made sure that we went to family therapy, and I made sure that they had dedicated time with their individual therapists, but I didn't get any. I was left with the remnants of domestic violence. And I can honestly say that I didn't have time to think about me because my concern was keeping my children safe and providing what they needed. I could tell you that both of my children have struggled with mental illness or emotional disruption. I'll say that. I don't necessarily like to say mental illness. I'll say that they have chemical imbalances. How about that? And they've pretty much figured out, one of them has figured out how to cope and how to manage her situation. The other one is struggling. She's really struggling, and it's heartbreaking. I'm not a victim here, but I will say this, that when I think about all of the things that I've gone through, trying to do the best that I know how to do for my children, and now seeing the struggle and me still feeling guilty in a lot of ways because of what we've gone through and the things that they missed out on. I am tired. I really am tired because although my children are grown now, I'm still giving. I'm still paying that price. I'm still overcompensating every time there's a need, Every time there's some trouble, every time it's an urgency or emergency, I'm being pulled to help. And like I said, I'm not going to go into details about their struggles because that's their story to tell. I will just say that for me, sometimes I wonder, when is it going to be my turn to live free, to not go from crisis to crisis to crisis? And I often feel like I get to a point where things are going well. I'm an empty nester. I can see light on the other side of the tunnel. And as soon as I see that, something happens and it jerks me right back 5 steps. And then I gotta struggle so hard to get back to just to where I was at, let alone over that gap, over that mountain. This is something that I've been struggling with for at least 20 years. And I just wonder, anybody else know what I'm talking about? Does anybody else relate to what I'm saying? I'm just tired. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. But at some point, I just wonder, when is it going to be time for me? I can say that there have been times where I've been so stressed out that I've had to go into the hospital. There have been times where I've been so stressed out and overwhelmed with it all that I've had to take off work. It's just sometimes just too much. It's just too much sometimes. And I feel like one of the reasons that I don't pursue a relationship is because who would want to deal with that? You meet a guy and you got all of this other stuff going on in your life that doesn't involve him, your children, your stress, your finances, all of this stuff. And I never want to be a liability. I only want to be an asset in a relationship. So I just say to myself, I don't even get out there and put myself out there, because the last time I did, the type of person that I attracted was toxic. The last relationship I had was toxic, and I kept asking, why is this? Why are all of these relationships around me so burdensome? They're just laborious emotionally. I'm being called to be the nurturer, the rescuer, the fixer, the therapist, the lover, the mother. just everything. And who's giving back to me? It sounds selfish, but it's not. It's not selfish. I am at a point where I just feel like I can't handle this no more. And I'm not talking about somebody that's suicidal or wants to cause harm to myself or others. No. I mean, my emotional and my central nervous system is overworked. It's just tired. Like, if I hear one more negative thing, I'ma implode. That type of thing. At 54 years old, I envision my life to be totally different. The things that I thought I would be doing right now are not this. Not at all. And so today, I decided, I'm gonna make this video. This video isn't for likes. It isn't for subscribers. It isn't any of that. If it's somebody that's watching this video and they feel the way I feel, or they understand what I'm saying when I say I'm tired, please just leave a comment below. I want to hear what you're doing to cope. Like, some days it's cool. It's cool some days, hey, you can just brush it off your shoulders. But other days, I'm like, I've had enough. It's been going on for so long. How do you love your children, your kinfolk? How do you just let go? How do you just let go? Just let go without feeling guilty, without feeling shame or embarrassment, or like you failed as a parent. How do you do that? Because I'm not sure I can, but I'm also not sure that I can continue going on like this. So, hey, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear how you, as a parent, cope with the overwhelm of your adult children. And what do you do to find solace, to just let go without feeling guilty, shame, overwhelmed? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.